what is your vision for your life? What are your values? What is your mission? Why are you here?
Welcome to the Tomorrow is Not Today podcast. You've already started to create the life you want just by being here. Designed for you as a business professional so you can be physically, mentally and emotionally healthy, more productive, less stressed and living a life you truly love. My name's Kingsley and thank you for coming on another journey with one of our uniquely qualified professionals. Donna Martin, thank you for joining us on the Tomorrow is Not Today podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks a million for having me on, Kingsley. It's an absolute pleasure.
Maybe some of you people you know you better think I've got the accent, but from here, besides, you're living in Australia now.
Yeah.
So
get what's the lingo?
Exactly. So first question I want to ask you, we always jump straight into the big question. So yeah. Donna Martin, the Good Life Coach, tell me, what is a good life?
So the good life for me, Kingsley, the good life for my clients, the good life that I envision, for me, it's living your life your way in your own terms. It's me living my life with my husband and kids, but it's coming back to me. It's living how I want to live it, in financial freedom and time freedom, in that alignment freedom for me, for my energy, and then for those around me. So that's what it is. And as the Good Life Coach and the Good Life Approach, that incorporates your vision, your values, your mission, and your goal. It's that simple.
That sounds awesome. So basically from that, you're telling me if we do what you say today, we'll have time, We'll have money, we'll have love, we'll have relationships, and we can do what we like.
Exactly. It's that simple. Really that simple, but people overcomplicate it. We hijack ourselves, sabotage ourselves, and we hijack our lives.
Okay, awesome. I can't wait to dive in a little bit more. So tell me initially, so who do you actually work with? Is it mainly men, women, professionals, everyday people, anybody?
So for me, it's really now, because I've worked with a lot of different people over my years and I've attracted mainly business owners. And for me, I wasn't a business owner to begin with. I was a nurse. And so where I really understood my niche was with other people that were putting their foot out there, that were putting themselves forward. And that just tended to be business owners and leaders, Kingsley, in any form of what they were doing, because the leaders tended to have the qualities of not being afraid to move forward. They were aware that personal development was a catalyst, if you like, that took them there. They were out of the box thinkers. And so the main people that I work now is really aligning leaders with their good life. And it's through the phenomenal approach of the Good Life Approach.
Okay, so based on what you said, leaders, business leaders, those type of people who you're attracting, they're coming to you because they actually want to grow. They want to become better people. Is that right?
So for some of them, they've already grew. So maybe unconsciously, they have just got to their goal. They've got to a certain place that they had always envisaged. So they're what we would call maybe an unconscious competent, where they weren't aware that their resting state, their standard for actually going for a goal or going for something to create it, came easy to them, unknowns to them for whatever reason. And this happens for a lot of people, Kingsley, but for the majority of people, it doesn't. So often you'll find even people in these elements that do succeed, they'll find that when they get to the end, when they climb to the peak of that mountain, they're kind of going, oh, okay, I thought I would feel a certain way. I thought that the fanfare would be off and that something would happen. And then the reality hits in. And this reality is for everybody. Whether you achieve a goal or whether you don't, whether you're just feeling stuck and frustrated, the reality soon kicks in that you're going, I got what I thought was going to make me happy. And then you go to another layer like an onion, where you begin understanding that everything is coming from your internal, coming from within. And this is where I come in. It's about that internal transformational work. And this is where leaders are most open, I find.
So what is it that, I guess when people get to this point, they achieve this goal, get where they wanted to go, but it's not what they thought it was? Why isn't it what they thought it was when they're actually reaching and trying to achieve this?
Well, so for me, it comes down to four key elements, and this is exactly what the Good Life approach is about. This is why I created it, because I had achieved so much success in different areas of my life as a nurse, in my skill set, in my home life, a beautiful home, financially set, all good things. And then internally, things showed up in my life, and I went again to crash and burn. And it's when you have to peel back the things that keep showing up for you, Kingsley, because I'm a mommy, I have three boys. And for me, there was things that were mirroring in my life that I really did not like, but they had been mirroring for me over multiple years. And I had been doing small bits of work on me, or I was ignoring these elements and shoving them down, just thinking, they'll pass. This next thing, when I do this house, it's going to make me happy. When I earn this title, it's going to make me happy when I do. And then you still come back to you too. I always talk about your internal image, because we have two. And it's when people go in the dead of night back to themselves, Kingsley, after they've achieved whatever they've been asking for. Can you go and stand in the mirror, bare, naked, raw, and just look at yourself, look into your soul, look into your eyes, and actually ask yourself, do I love myself? Do I appreciate myself? But then ask yourself, what is my vision for me, for my future, for if you're the ripple effect? This is why I find it so powerful working with leaders, because leaders are there to lead. And they have a phenomenal source as a ripple effect, as a positive impact down to others, whether it's the team that they lead, whether it's the families, whether it's the community. They are the gatekeepers for that expanse for so many others. So by helping leaders transform, what is your vision for why you want to lead, where you want to go, your life? What is your values? How does your professional values, your business values, your team values align with your home, your personal values? Because most people take one over the other and then find that they're lacking. But these have to always go and flow, they have to intertwine. Look at your mission. Why are you here? What's your purpose? Why do you get up in the morning? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it just for a paycheck? Is it to make other lives better? Is it to give somebody a good product that's going to make their life easier? And what are your goals? Have you reached them and you're still dissatisfied? So this is what I find, and I have found personally, Kingsley, is what's transforming people's lives, not just in one element, but adding all these four in. And that is why the good life approach is born, because it's just so powerful. Does that make sense?
100%. And it's like, that wasn't just here's an answer. There was so much depth into what you just said there. Like, that is a massive amount of things. And it could easily be, you could listen to that and go, wow, that's a little bit overwhelming. How do I know? How do I put this together? I'm not sure where I feel with all of this about my work, my product, my family, my everything else. I'm not sure where it fits. So how do you break it down so that, because there are some people who are incredibly successful in some areas, but not necessarily others as well. So how do you break that down and make sure that, as you said, you can stand in front of that mirror and look yourself dead in the eyes and ask yourself those questions and be happy with the answers you give yourself?
So you can break it down into so many ways, Kingsley, and I talk about the 7 levels of awareness. We are all exactly where we're meant to be in this moment in time. So whether you're watching this podcast now, whether you're watching it weeks or months down the line, it doesn't matter. You're exactly where you're meant to be in this moment in time and space that you're watching this, in your level of awareness. You've needed to hear something, take a nugget of information. Maybe it is reach out to me. Maybe it is reach out to you. Maybe it's to go and Google something, look up something. And for me, with the Good Life approach, it's understanding and being able to offer people at those different stages, different levels of coaching. So my main coaching program will be a 6-month transformational program, Kingsley, and that's for those that are ready, really set. They've done some personal development, some self-help, some self-help watch and all the freebies, or where they've done some paid programs and they understand the benefit, but they're like, yeah, okay, it's not a quick fix, and they're ready to go deeper. Or I created a 4-week program, which is starting now next month, on the 16th of November. And that's 4 weeks from burnout to brilliance. And that's aligning leaders to these. So that's taking that concept and breaking it into 4 weeks, making it bite-sized chunks. I also do one-to-one alignment sessions. So that's for people that are just kind of going, I have zero interest. I don't even know what a goal is. I have no mission. I just want to feel better. I just want to be okay in my day. And that's where I help them to unload, to let go of that limiting beliefs, those baggage, that negative attachments, and then empower them through a visioneering process. Because you know yourself, we think in pictures. So it's about baby steps for each person to actually let them connect, or you can just jump on a call and have a conversation. Because I don't know about you, Kingsley, the clients, but sometimes people will talk to me and the reason they came for is not the reason they're there at all. And that's then, as a coach, as a mentor, how our skill set and our intuition, what makes us unique to connect to that.
Yeah, no, that happens very often, actually. I've noticed very, very common. People are thinking they're going for one thing, but it's actually a completely different thing altogether when they get there and they start asking themselves those questions. So you mentioned about 7 different, aspects that you run through with your program. Can you outline just basically, because obviously these are different things that every one of us needs to apply to our own life in some degree. So what is a just general overview of what those seven aspects are?
Well, the 7 levels of awareness, these aren't the big 6-month program, but it's something that I introduce people to. It's a free thing where it's just asking yourself, so are you constantly in that fight or flight? Are you constantly in that reacting to everything, to everyone, to the physical world, to the red light, to stubbing your toe, to spilling your coffee, to someone not sending an email or not doing a job? Is your world constantly, your internal being, constantly in that where your heart's racing, it's that anxiety and you're just fueling yourself, you're not eating right, you're not sleeping right, all of that? Or the next level is the mass consciousness. Are you just going about your day, get up, do what I do, eat the exact same thing, drink the same thing, take the same action, drive the same route, do the same thing, say the same thing verbally to your colleagues when you get in, or turn on your computer or your phone? It's about never questioning, never stepping out of your comfort zone. And there's no judgment here, Kingsley. It just is what it is. So
no intentionality, which is how most of us tend to live.
Yes. So this is just your automatic programming. And so I find this really beneficial for people to just start without judgment, asking themselves, okay, ask a better question. Where am I at? Do I not question anything? Am I in my comfort zone? Am I just cruising along in my day, but yet I feel dissatisfied? Or are you at the aspiration phase? Are you at that phase of wanting to discover who you truly are, of wanting to discover more about you, how you operate? And this is where you're tuning into your heart, you're tuning into your energy, you're going, I know that there's something more, or where synchronicities come in, or what we call coincidences, and you've been in aligned with something and it's flowed and everything's come to you and you're like, oh my God, I can stay in this flow state way longer. How do I do this? So there's loads of different levels, and it takes you right up to a place where you're achieving goals. You have, if you imagine an onion, you have peeled those layers back. But when you get to a certain standard, Kingsley, so for me, our transition into Australia was a form of mastery for me in this big goal achieved, which for me just meant that my standard of being internally, my set point of me, my belief in me, having achieved this, brought it into fruition. This was my new resting state, my new energy. So it doesn't mean that you just hang up your boots and you're done and you're like, yeah, forget about it.
Yeah.
This means that you're ready to go again, but your new state, your new resting state, your new level of awareness has completely changed. You have more
So is
belief in
that like,
yourself.
because you've pushed yourself to a certain point, you've got out of your comfort zone, you've pushed yourself, you've gone for something, and now that's made you a bigger person as a whole. And so now other things that may have previously been impossible and now become possible to actually achieve or to do or to become.
100,000%. Like, I look back, Kingsley Day, 3 years ago, I look back to, because you can only join the dots looking back. So when you look back at different stages in your life where you were afraid to do something, where you were afraid to go for the job interview, I didn't think I was worthy to do a nursing degree at one point in my life. At one point in my life, I didn't think I was worthy to buy a laptop to do study. Now, this is the crazy concept that we hold in our mind of limiting behaviors, of lacking confidence, of not feeling worthy or enough. But if you imagine we are all on this dimmer switch, and every time you climb that ladder of self-belief, self-awareness, every time you step out of your comfort zone, every time you listen and align to your heart, to your truth, you brighten your light. And the thing is, Kingsley, when you allow your light to shine, you give permission for others to do the same, because you become that ripple effect and you radiate out to everybody else. And before you know it, people are gathering to you in a sense of, what have you done? How can I do that?
It's almost
this
like
is
some
it.
people are there waiting for permission, isn't it, to shine? They're waiting for somebody else to go, they've done it. I can do this. I can be that person. I can step out of where I am now and I can start to shine.
I was that person. When I
You were
met
the
my
shiner
mentor,
or the shinee?
no, I was the one waiting for permission to shine
Right.
until I met my mentor. And she told me, Donna, borrow my belief until you have your own. Borrow mine, because I believe in you. I see the qualities in you that you cannot yet see in yourself. And this is part of the process. And this is why I love doing what I do, Kingsley, because it's that process. And then you get here and you're like, oh my God, what was that all about?
So let me take you back there for a sec. So you needed someone to come alongside of you and help you shine, pull out what was inside of you, basically. It was already there.
Yeah.
How hard was it to do that? Like, did you have an internal fight with yourself about, yes, I can, no, I can't, I'm going to push, no, I'm going to pull back? What was that like?
It wasn't a quick fix pill. There's no such thing. For me, so the program that I now facilitate is called Thinking Under Results. And that is the exact program that I went through with my mentor. Now, my mentor, when I met her, I knew in an instant. There was no going back and forth. I didn't have the money. I hadn't a clue where it would come from. All I knew was that something in my heart ignited, and what they were saying rang true to my soul. I didn't believe in myself. I couldn't see the person that they were telling me I was. I could see some qualities, but it's like you have this veil over yourself and you're not really supported or allowed to shine. But it's really ourselves, our internal program and our experiences, our life things. But when you
So it's
understand things,
ourselves. And so
yeah,
it's us that holds us back. Is that right?
100,000%. We are the
And
boss of
what
us.
is it
Yeah.
what is it that makes us hold ourselves back?
It's what we call our paradigm. And your paradigm is simply, if you imagine a rucksack on your back of all these different beliefs that you have. And the best exercise I always get people to do, Kingsley, the easiest way I can tell people to do this or get them to do this and experience it for themselves is get a blank page, draw a line in the middle. What things, what qualities, what attributes have you got that you absolutely love? What things then on the other side would you like to improve? How would they benefit your life if you improved? A lot of people say, I'm a procrastinator. I suffer from imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough confidence. I'm not a great communicator. But when you understand that you can transform this, that it's us, we control our thoughts, we have an intellect. We operate on 3 different levels. We have this intellect, this mind, this brain, this thing that gives us a focus where we can say, yes, I accept this thought that has come in, or I reject it. And then we have the choice then to accept whether or not we accept the feeling that is just latched on because it's part of an old program. But we carry these beliefs on our back, Kingsley, and it's about unloading them 1 or 2 at a time. And this is where constant spaced repetition is key to transforming. This is my belief. This is how I learned. This is what I see in my own life. This is how things translate. I've been through 3 huge emotional impacts in my own life, and they catapulted me. But it was only the 3rd one when I was 40, Kingsley, because it was not just me, but it was me, my husband, and our 3 boys. So that catalyst, that connection with my kids, and going, hell no, it's now time to stop messing, stop flowing, stop tiptoeing about. Now it's time to go full in and decide.
So somebody's listening to this right now. They're feeling that way. They're feeling what you've gone through, what you've done, and like you said, unpacking the rocks out of that backpack so that you can move forward. How does someone actually do that practically? Take us down to raw. How do we actually do that?
So first of all, it's about understanding that we are more than just a bag of bones. I liken us to a walking, talking bag of bones, and we are a walking, talking bag of bones that is magnetized. So we're like a big magnetized skeleton, and we're just walking about. This is what gives us the functionality to take action. We also have the intellect, which we talked about. So we have the choice, the power of choice. I didn't know this. I didn't know it until my 2nd big emotional impact. So we have the power of choice. We have that power to actually control, but we also operate from a spiritual side, this spiritual being within us. So all the different thought processes that you're hearing or that you're feeling within you, it's about taking you back to the core foundations, Kingsley, and actually assessing, looking from a neutral point of view, where am I at? What are the things that aren't working for me? Because even just going back to the basics, Kingsley, you can't just dump a whole load of stuff on the table and say, okay, this is, because you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to turn on your heels and not start before you even begin. So it's a process, and what I take people through is a foundational process. You first need to understand what a goal is. And what I mean by that is a goal is to grow you in your awareness, in your confidence, in your belief in you. Because how can you expect to have the courage, have the resiliency, bring that strength to unpack all the stuff that you've been busy over your lifetime stuffing down so hard? How can you expect to unveil or brighten these qualities when you have no concept about where you are at this moment in time? So it's about sitting down and breaking everything back to, okay, where are you at in your life, in your reality? What's showing up for you? What is the most prominent thing that's showing up that you feel is constantly in your radar, that if it was fixed, if it was worked on, it would make things a whole lot better? Because when you look at that, Kingsley, usually you will have a list of a lot of things, but you have the one thing that's going to have that impact, and then you can go into the different behaviors, under the different programs. You go into understanding about your intellect, about your spiritual side, about the power of our vibration, about everything coming from us. We talk about the stick person. We break down your conscious mind, your unconscious. But these are all different layers that are added over constant spaced repetition so that you have that awareness, you have that support and accountability to take those first steps. Does that make sense? To actually
100%,
bring you to the next level. And that's important.
And
you can't just make a leap.
It sounds like that even though there's three different elements, so you have obviously your physical bag of bones, as you like to say, then you got the mental or the intellectual side, and then you've got the spiritual side. But the way you're describing it is, even though they're separate, they're all totally entwined and work together, and you need each of the others to actually be able to get the others to work properly as well. So they have to be functioning properly together. Is that right?
Well, the question I would put you is, would you, if you'd never taken any driving lessons, jump into a car, probably more a manual car, but would you jump in and feel confident and drive down a motorway or take a 2-hour trip down south? You absolutely would not, because you wouldn't have a clue where the indicator is, you wouldn't have the lights, you wouldn't have the gear stick to know your gears to work your engine. Your engine and your gear stick and your clutch would probably be blown out by getting down the street. But we are not taught as a society in this physical world, we are not taught in primary school and secondary school how we actually operate. That manifestation is simply to make real, but there are universal laws that people have been aware of for hundreds of years, Kingsley. If you ask the majority of successful people, they are all aware of themselves, of their internal being. They know who they are in truth. They understand that they are connected to something bigger than just this physical body, and they know how to tune in. And this is where we get the inspired ideas. This is where we get our intuitive hits. This is where we can get into that flow state where we then take the physical bag of bone action. And then it's not about being lucky. It's not about being in the right place at the right time. It is about being aligned with your vision, your values, your mission, and your goal, so that when you get these intuitive hits, you know exactly who you need to contact. Intuitively, you know what email, what phone call you need to make, what chat show, what podcast, whatever you need to do, what program you need to do next. Because I still have a coach to this day, a mindset coach, Kingsley, and a business coach, because business isn't my expertise. So go to people in the know. This is the best way to explain it all.
Yeah, no, it's huge. And it's like when you were explaining it before, it's very, very big, but at the same time, it's not. It's quite simple at the same time. And it does all work together, but it's a matter of knowing how to take the steps, I guess, and being able to move through from one stage to the next and understand, I guess, because sometimes we do get those intuitive things and we're not sure what to do with that, because very often in our Western culture, it's like, no, where's the figures? Point this out. I need to see exactly how it's going to work and what's going to happen before we do anything. But yet I know all of the people that I look to and listen to, all the very successful people, every one of them is like, that's great, but I often work out of my gut because I just know what to do. And when I don't do it, it doesn't work so well. And that's quite often they say that. They obviously, you don't throw away the figures and the intellect, because obviously that's incredibly important. That's an essential side. But we don't want to totally dismiss the spiritual side either, or the gut, I guess, when you got that intuition or whatever it is, like you said, of knowing who I need to talk to or the phone call I need to make or whatever it is as well. So how do you know? Like, because sometimes we think about things and sometimes and we don't know, like, should I just do that? Or is that just something I thought of? Maybe I'll put off and do something down the track. How do you know what's the best way to go with that? Because sometimes if you do some things out of the intuition, it can end up pretty disastrous. So how do we bring those into alignment?
So it's like going to the gym and working a muscle. You are working your mindset muscle, because mind is in every single cell of our body. It's not a singular thing. It's not a one-point thing. We are all in this physical body made of energy. So if you went under a curling photography machine, you would light up like a Christmas tree, for those that enjoy facts, figures, science-based. And all science and all theology, Kingsley, over hundreds of years, only ever agreed on one point. And that is that we become what we think about. So if you think of your intuition, we all have it. It's just a muscle, and it's about building that muscle. So when you're intuitively doing things and they haven't gone how you expected, look at it. Is it a lesson or is it a blessing? What did I learn from this that another opportunity is presented and I've learned from this experience? But if I hadn't had this experience, because our logic, our educated, our left brain mind, which I very much was, is always trying to figure out the how. But in the spiritual side, it is not about figuring out the how. It is about letting go and tuning in and understand that whether your point of reference is the universe, God, source, infinite intelligence, or whether you've no affinity, know that we are all connected to something bigger than us in this physical thing. And that when you know something in your heart, when you know something and you know that you know, but everything's screaming on paper or other people are saying to you, that's not the way, that's not the right thing. But something in you, your best self is telling you, sit up, pay attention, trust yourself. And it's only by taking the action, Kingsley, and actually stepping forward into this, trusting yourself. And remember, feeling is not a failure. Feeling is, it is bringing yourself forward. People feel all the time. I feel all the time. And for me, that's a win, because it's not a failure that's defined by society. Feeling for me is part of the passage. It's rite of passage to that success, to that achievement, because it's the stepping stones that brings you to where you want to go. And it's the universe paving that path, but it's up to us. We can't just sit back and go, okay, give me what I want, or create a goal and then go and give it to me and I'm going to sit here with my arms folded. You have to intuitive hit, take action.
Absolutely.
Do it now.
And I know, and I was just listening to the other day, the lady who I cannot remember her name right now, who started Spanx. You know, the women start to bring their gut in.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't think of her
We
name.
would all probably know her name as soon as we heard it. But when she was growing up, her dad would sit them at the dinner table, they were having dinner, and he would say to the kids, her and her brothers, he'd say, what did you fail at today? And every single day they had to have something that they tried and failed at to bring to him. And she said that just put a whole new light on failure, because it didn't just make allowance for it. It pushed us to where we wanted to do something where we knew we would fail. And we had to keep pushing. And then when it came to creating Spanx, like, her story is phenomenal about how she did it. And
Sarah Blakely?
Sarah Blakely, that's her, yeah. And how she actually had to push through really hard, and so much opposition to get there. And like you were saying, people were telling her not to, but she's like, no, I know this can work. And she found one guy who would actually make the first lot of Spanx for her. She said they were a nightmare, but they worked and people wanted them. But there was only one person she could find would actually work with her to create this thing. And he was, I think, a few hours drive away. So she had to drive, take the materials, get him to do them, and then pick them up and bring them back again. And that's how it all started. But it took a long, long time for that to happen. But that was her thing, which she's like, I know this is going to work. I know it's going to work. And what you were talking about, being afraid of failure, with her dad sitting them down as kids at the dinner table and saying, what did you fail at today? Because he wasn't interested in what they were successful. Well, he was interested in what they were successful at, but he wanted to know, had they tried something new? Had they pushed themselves to a point of failure? And that totally changed her perspective on everything and allowed her then to go down that track, down that path, to create this incredible brand now that was worth, I don't know how many billion now, but a lot of dollar that she's created, which is phenomenal. And I think that's an example of a story of what you're talking about with everything.
But she would have had a powerful vision. So any times through all those knockbacks, through all the people telling her no, through all that process, She has held her vision. She has gone into her mind where nobody else can go. She's had that
Yeah.
strength, had that persistence, built that resiliency, built all those muscles to strengthen her armor so that her core, her being, her trust in herself, her faith, knowing it was going to bring her everything she desired, kept her going in the darkest of times. And that's for each of us, Kingsley. It's not always an easy ride, and you don't just come into ease and flow all of a sudden and it's a magical pill and you'll never go. Life happens for everybody. So it's about utilizing your wisdom and learning what is my vision here. Not your neighbors, not your partners, not even your kids. What is my vision? What is my heart calling me to do? What is it that I am here to do, to bring to life? And when you focus on that, no matter what comes your way, you learn the ability to go back and hold that vision until it comes into form. And then you just go again and again and again. It's a never ending. This journey is not one and done for all. And
absolutely.
Sit back. No.
It's never ending. And that's what Tomorrow Is Not Today is all about, actually, knowing that stuff's going to happen and you got to be prepared and knowing that, that's just today. It's not tomorrow. And then tomorrow is going to be fantastic, but you got to know that as well. Afterwards, there's going to be something else that's going to come and hit us. And but am I in a good position? Have I put myself in a good, strong position mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of these ways, so that when it does happen, and you know what? I know it's just a lesson. It's just something I can learn from that happens, and I can still push through and make stuff happen as well. So you did. Thank you for summarizing Tomorrow Is Not Today. You did a great job. I'm impressed.
I'm in alignment. That's why I'm on here, Kingsley.
Exactly.
We resonate. We definitely connected. It's that power. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. We just about, unfortunately, time is just about up. So that went like ridiculously fast. Yeah. And I hope people will go back and listen to this again, because you put so many gold nuggets in here for people to pick up, so many different things that, to, like I said, take time, build the muscle, take time, use it, build the muscle, and learn and grow with it as we go. But I've got a couple of things before I get on to the last couple of questions. Number one, how can people find you, connect with you, follow you, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so at the moment, Kingsley, I'm working on a few different things to do with a new website and that. So at the moment, you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram are my two main places at the moment. And then you can find me on Facebook as well. So yeah, that's my main leads at the moment.
And do we go look for the Good Life Coach? Do we look for Donna Martin?
Yeah, that would be good. Sorry. Just simply click in Donna Martin, the Good Life Coach, and you will find me on LinkedIn. And if you like connecting in person, having a conversation, having a chat, or you want to know more about how I share in the process of business mindset and being your authentic self, I co-host a weekly audio event on exactly that topic, Kingsley, every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Perth, Western Australian time. And it's called Being Your Authentic Self in Business, where we talk about business help, marketing, all things mindset, and how you can bring it back in alignment with you to be your authentic self. So it's been running over a year now, and it's really powerful. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's fantastic. Now, last couple of questions. And you went over before talking about what you do is what we call here create the life you want, and that's exactly what you've described what you do, which is alignment again, which is fantastic. But two questions before we go. Number one, we talk about the ultimate tomorrow here, because that's what we're all about creating. So what is the ultimate tomorrow?
Good question. For me, it's living my life my way on my own terms. And so tomorrow for me, today, is where I'm living my life my way on my own terms today, in this style, in this moment, with what's showing up, while also intentionally designing for my tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be a step forward from where I am today. I'm going to be in a different space. So it's sitting in that intentionality and awareness of I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Does that answer your question?
I love that. I love that. Normally I go straight to the next question, but I just want to come in there on the back of that, because a lot of people think the ultimate tomorrow is about tomorrow. But to me, the ultimate tomorrow is living now. now in the way we want to live, like you just described, to help us better tomorrow so that it is an ultimate tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we plan it now and we live now as if we are in that place, planning, strategic, intentionally living the life that we want to live. So I love that answer you gave. It was fantastic. And then the other one, and we sort of just answered it, but maybe you got a little bit of twist on this, is how do you create your ultimate tomorrow?
It's exactly the 4 key pillars of the Good Life approach. Deciding for you, what is your vision for your life? What are your values? What is your mission? Why are you here? And what goals do you need to create in alignment with that? So if you take them 4 key pillars, you are in essence creating your own good life through intentional design. And Neville Goddard, one of the guys I always study, he's The Power of Awareness. It is a phenomenal game-changing book, Kingsley, if you haven't heard it. And for the people listening there, called The Power of Awareness. His name's Neville Goddard. And he always talks about living from the end. And this is what I teach. This is how I live. Every morning, as soon as I get up, I'm straight into my visualization, my auto-suggestion, my video that I've recorded of my life script of who I am, what I am doing, how my day is going, how my word is. And this is me implanting that every single day through intentional design. And this is the power of it. So you have to get clear on these aspects and sit with them now. Be that person now. What qualities, what attributes, how would they be showing up? How would they be responding to things instead of reacting? It's not about the reflection of your current bank balance, because where you're at today, Kingsley, is from past thinking. It's from past programming. So know that every moment that you're in right now, everything you do from this moment is building your future. It's elevating you or it's holding you back. So that's just how I operate, and it's how I teach my kids to operate. This is the ripple effect that we're talking about, because it works. Yeah,
fantastic. Donna, thank you so much for joining us on the Tomorrow's Not Today podcast. There's so much great stuff welcome. There. I do love the alignment that's happened. That was awesome as well. And make sure, go ahead, find Donna on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you like. Find it, get some of this. Jump onto one of those fortnightly calls as well, and connect with her. And I'm sure, if people connect with you on LinkedIn, you'll answer their questions, let them know exactly how to 100%. Jump onto those calls and get that happening as well. Fantastic. Awesome, Donna. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Kingsley. Create the life you want.
Yeah.